What is going on, beautiful people of the world? Today we are going to be speaking about a topic that is extremely close to the chest for me. It's extremely close to the heart because it's something that I've dealt with for probably the past going on easy 6-7 years. And that is going to be the topic of addiction. Now, addiction takes many different forms in terms of drug addiction, alcoholism, sex addiction, anything that you can't stop doing. Now, there are different levels of addiction, obviously. There was a recent interview with beloved TV star Matthew Perry recently, where he said that he was in control of the first drink, but he wasn't in control of what happened after that first drink. And that's something that really, really hit home for me. That's something that really resonated with me. Because I know I've helped a lot of people with addiction. I've obviously suffered with addiction my entire life as well. So I know that there are lots of ups, lots of downs, lots of issues around addiction, and people look at the stereotype around addiction is something that really, really irritates me, because people look at different kinds of addiction and they'll put you in a category depending on the type of addiction that you're in. Now, I don't think there's any differences between an alcoholic, a drug addict, or a sex addict, whatever you're addicted to. Now, in my eyes, there's no difference. The brain chemistry and the chemistry inside the brain is all factored in to you not being able to stop consuming a certain substance of some description, whether that be pharmaceutical drugs, whether that be antidepressants, whether that be cocaine, whether that be MDMA, whatever it is, whether it's beer or wine or vodka. If you are unable to go a day without taking this substance, and you don't actually need that substance for any purpose, then therefore you're addicted to that substance. The definition of addiction is literally the strong physical or psychological need for a substance. So this ties in exactly the same with drug. So the definition of a drug and the definition of addiction means anybody that's on a brain-altering substance that they cannot stop taking is a drug addict, right? And so a lot of people are going to come at me for this. And I will be very clear in what I say here to not offend everybody, right? But if you are, now I agree with taking drugs when you need to take them in order to help you when you need the help. Now, I only agree with taking these drugs when you are getting support for what you need, right, from external places. So, from a physical standpoint, if you've broken your leg and you need pain medication, right, but you are actively trying as much as you can with physiotherapists and rehab specialists in order to fix that leg or that arm, whatever it may be, then fine, because you're actively putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation to fix the problem that has happened to you with specialist support. Fine. If you're led on your bed, right, unadvised from the doctor, and I've never met anybody who's broken their leg, or take my grandma for a prime example, she had a whole hip replacement, and she was up and walking on it within a couple of days. I think if I remember correctly, it was the day after surgery she was up and walking around on it, right? I know it varies from case to case to case. Now, if the doctor has specifically told you not to walk on it, that is very, 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 very different than what I'm saying, right? But if you have been told you need to walk on something or you need to do something in order to benefit that thing that's going on, and you are ignoring that information, you're sat in your bed just taking the drugs because it makes you feel better, right? Drug addict. Again, from a mental perspective, If you are going through a pit of depression, anxiety, trauma-related problems, any problem like that, and you're not actively seeking and you're not actively getting support from a therapist or counselor or anything like that, you're just taking the drugs and assuming it will be better. Again, drug addict. And I know I'm going to upset a lot of people by saying that, and good, because maybe you should look at your own life and see what is actually happening with your own life and why you feel like you need these drugs and are not sorting your issue out, right? Now, this primary thing that I've just said, taking drugs without getting support for what you need and just assuming the drugs are going to make you better, is kind of like if you made a massive cut in your chest and just put a little bandage over it. That's kind of what you're sort of doing. You're not sorting the problem. You're just putting a bandage over the problem and assuming it will go away. But it won't. I know a lot of people who have been on antidepressants, and I know a lot of people who have been drug addicts for decades, and they won't sort their issues out because of whatever reason. And it's just one of those things. And I think it's really sad when people are so against the idea of mental health support and therapy and counselling, but they just assume that taking drugs is going to sort them out. And it's not. Drugs are a fantastic tool to help you get from point A to point B, but they're not the solution. Now, I know that this is extremely controversial because everybody likes to think that, you know, if you're taking pharmaceutical drugs given to you by the doctor, for example, then therefore you have a reason to take it. Now, there are lots of reasons where this is true. Of course, if you fall off your bike and break your leg, for example, then you need pain medication to help you get through the day, right? If you are very mentally unwell and you're seeing psychiatrists and you're seeing counselors and you're seeing therapists and you need antidepressants to ensure that no harm comes to yourself, of course you need to have different substances. I'm not saying that all substances in the world are entirely bad. What I'm saying is that the stereotype we have with drugs and alcohol and the communities themselves putting different people in different categories is fundamentally flawed, because it's unfair for you, for example, to turn around and say to somebody who smokes weed every day for their mental health, to say that's wrong because that's drugs, and when they're on antidepressants, neither of them are seeing a therapist or a counsellor, but they're on antidepressants because that's legal in this country. I know in different countries it varies, which is why I'm using it as an example. In different countries it varies. So it's, in my personal opinion, it's very unfair if you take two individuals, one who is on antidepressants, one who is smoking weed, both smoking it for their depression, both using that particular substance for their depression, neither of them seeing a therapist, neither of them seeing a counsellor. I don't think it's fair for one to judge the other for taking something for their mental health. And it's 99.9% of the time always the person who's on the legal substance moaning at the person who's on an illegal substance because it's illegal in certain parts of the world. Now, or it's more bad for your health because it's smoking rather than orally ingesting. That's what really, really, really irritates me. Having been a prolific weed smoker for a long period of my life, I've seen it from both sides of the coin. I have been on antidepressants myself. I've been a prolific weed smoker. I have done things in my life that I'm not massively proud of. We've all had points in our life where we're not proud of things. Now, my knowledge from being the person that I was to now being the person that I am today enables me to sort of challenge these questions and these thoughts from the general population. Now, if you really think about it, the definition of a drug is any substance that changes the psychological effect on your body. Anything. So that doesn't actually mean if it is an illegal or illegal drug. Any drug that alters your brain chemistry is considered a drug. So whether you are on antidepressants, whether you're on MDMA, whether you're smoking weed, whether you're on anti-anxiety medication, no matter what medication you're on, it is a drug. And therefore, it is very unfair for you to moan at other people who are like, I know a lot of people who smoke weed for their mental health but they are also on antidepressants. And I have a go at them all the time because they're on all these drugs, but they don't go and get mental health support for their mental health issues. And that is fundamentally where it comes down to. If you have no idea how to fix a shower, are you going to go and try and fix your shower when it breaks? No, you're going to call a plumber, right? If your roof comes off in a storm, are you going to go and fix it? No, because you have no idea about roofing. You're going to call a roofer, right? It's the same with your mental health. It's the same with your physical body, right? It annoys me so much when people assume that they can just do a diet or do training programs and they'll get the body that they want, right? I know so many people who are like that, right? And they're just like, right, I know I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to follow this program, and I'm going to eat like this, and I'm going to look like that. And it's just like, no, because your individual body is not tailored to suit that program that they're selling, right? You need a bespoke program that's going to work for you, right? And addiction is much the same. It's exactly the same. Addiction is one of those things that if you want to stop being addicted to something, I don't care what it is, then you need to have a bespoke program that works for you and for you alone. And it's not going to work for everybody else. It might work for somebody else, but it's not going to work for the majority of the people that might copy your particular program, right? So addiction is hard hitting. It's horrible. It's really troublesome to stop, right? And I know this because I've been addicted to nearly everything in the past, and it's so very hard to stop. It's very easy to sit there and listen to somebody like Andrew Tate turn around and go, just stop doing it. You're a man, just stop doing it. And sometimes it is as easy as that. If you want to stop sitting down and watching TikTok, then the first 90 minutes of the day, don't watch TikTok. And the likelihood, or any kind of social media, and the likelihood is you then won't be drawn to it through the day. But addiction isn't anywhere near as easy as you think it is to stop. And people can be addicted to their phones. They can be addicted to anything. They can be addicted to food. They can be addicted to drinking. They can be addicted to not eating food, and the feeling that gives them, right? You can be addicted to literally anything these days. And it's just a way your brain chemistry is wired. And the only way you're going to stop being addicted to that thing is if you rewire your brain. I've said this recently in another video. Now, rewiring the brain is not easy. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of determination. And fundamentally, it don't take that much motivation. If you want to change your life and you want to be different than the person you were, you need to stop doing the same things you were doing. That is literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? And I've met a lot of people. I've been in a lot of arguments recently with a lot of people about saying things on social media that might upset people, and I could not care less if I upset people, because it's my personal opinion. We're all entitled to our personal opinions, and if you have any kind of issue with anything that is said online, then ask the question. The reason that I say the controversial things that I do is because I like opening up the conversation into why you think the way that you do and why I think the way that I do, because we're all entitled to our own opinion. We're all able to discuss these things like adults. Well, most of us are able to discuss these things like adults and actually have an open conversation about why we do the things that we do. The majority of the reason why people are scared, and especially me as well, when I first started this journey and I first started to not wanting to be addicted to certain things, knowledge is very scary, because knowledge is very, very, very powerful. And especially to someone who's in a pit of depression or anxiety or addicted to something that they can't get out of, then those substances, those people that you surround yourself with, and the knowledge that you have is extremely dangerous, and it can be extremely dangerous, and it can be extremely daunting. It can be extremely scary because you know this stuff and you can help these people, but you can't force it upon them, right? I'd never force my opinions on anybody because I know that I don't like that being done to me. So one of my actually a lot of my best friends, for a prime example, are all addicted to different things. I've got one who absolutely loves alcohol, absolutely loves it, can't go a day without a drink. I've got somebody else who can't go a day without a smoke, right? And they're some of my best friends in my entire world. I've got other friends who aren't addicted to things but do things on a daily basis and would regret not doing them. And that's a different topic, completely different topic, because that's a whole different can of worms. Doing something that you enjoy doing, that you aren't addicted to, that isn't like changing your brain chemistry in any way. Or if it is changing your brain chemistry, but you're able to stop it, there's that's a whole different ballpark. Specifically today is all about addiction and, fundamentally, actually, how you're able to stop it. And the only way you're able to stop addiction, any kind of addiction, is changing your brain chemistry and actually opening your mind and able to have something else happen. We get so stuck in our own ways about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and we want to just do the same thing all the time because it's easy, because change is scary and change is hard, and people don't like to change their whole lives, change everything about them, because it is fundamentally quite scary. But at the end of the day, if you want to become a different person than the person you are now, then you need to change everything. You need to change your brain chemistry, you need to change the way that you eat, you need to change the way that you live, because if you want to crush the addiction and become a free person, not be controlled by this thing, this substance anymore, then everything about your life's got to change. And that is scary, and that's why people don't want to do it. And that is why people don't want to do it, because people don't like the idea that they have to change their entire life because they want to stop doing one thing. And it took me years to understand this, and it took me years to actually want to do it and want to change. But I can promise you, from an ex-addict myself, there is no better feeling, right? For example, I couldn't sleep. I've suffered with insomnia my entire life. The only thing that's ever helped me sleep is weed, marijuana, right? And that is something that I've only been able to stop the past year, 18 months, because it is like literally since I've launched this company. I launched this company almost 2 years ago now. I launched this company at the same time I kicked my addiction. And it is an ever fighting battle to actually find something that works. And something that works and something that will always work is nighttime routines and morning routines. I see them all over TikTok, all over social media. And if your routines and the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is shit, and the first thing and the last thing you do at nighttime is shit, inherently the rest of your day will be pretty shit, and you will be fighting these issues all day long. So the top things you can do is find out what works for you, right? And there's a whole nother video coming about my nighttime routine and my morning routine, because that is fundamentally what has saved me and what has enabled me to take my life to the next level, to be able to fight any addiction and any issues that I actually have. Because I care about the first 90 minutes of the morning and I care about the last half an hour at nighttime. They are the only two times that actually really matter in the daytime. If you nail those, you will nail the rest of your day, because you're not setting yourself up for failure. Anybody can do it. I've met people who are 200-300 pounds massively overweight to people who are like 100 pounds extremely underweight. I've met people who are 70 years old all the way down to who are 14 years old, right? And it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, you are the only person that controls your life. And if you want to change your life, then it comes from within, it comes from the mind, and it comes from the soul, and it comes from the body. That's the only way you're going to be able to change your life. And the only way you're going to beat an addiction is through mindless dedication. I don't care about motivation. Motivation's nothing. You know, you can be motivated one day and you can be unmotivated the next day. If you want real change, then you've got to be dedicated to having that change. And it's that end of story. If you are not dedicated to achieving the body that you want, or achieving the mindset that you want, or achieving the financial position that you want, or anything in life, you've got to show up for yourself every single day, whether you want to show up for yourself or not. If you stop showing up for yourself, then how can you possibly expect your mind and your body to show up for you? It's just not going to work. It's never, ever, ever going to work. So if you've got any questions about anything that I've said, if you disagree with anything that I've said, then please do not hesitate to get in contact, and we can have an open conversation about why I've said the things that I've said and the things that I do say, because I do agree with everything that I've said. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I shall see you in the next one.